The ultimate goal of yoga is self realization. Self realization is the ability to achieve freedom from these demands and to know that the true happiness comes from fulfilling our own potential and from lifting up those around us without the thought of self realization. Dedicating yourself to regular practice of yoga can help bring you back to this place. Yoga is indeed an excellent form of exercise that carries with it many immediate and long term physical benefits from improved flexibility to stronger muscles and bones. However, yoga is not just performed properly, yoga quiets the mind of all distracting thoughts from the outside world. Chitta vritti, meaning mind chatter, bringing you to place a peace within. In turn, being mindful of your thoughts will allow you to be mindful of and truly connected with your body, thus completing the cycle of mental and physical health that will allow you to enjoy all wonderful things that life has to offer. In 14th century, the Yoga Upanishads were introduced. One of the sacred texts, Tejo Bindu Upanishad, added 7 more important parts of yoga practice on top of Patanjali 8. They were as follows: Moola Bandh, root lock, balance, undisturbed vision, Chaga, abandonment, Manna, Mauna, quiet, Disha, space, and Kala, time. It was not until the 20th century that yoga gained any kind of popularity in Western Europe and North America. Swami Sivananda Saraswati was one of the first yogis to travel outside of India to spread the teachings of yoga to the West. He established yoga centers in North America. At the time, Swami Sachidananda also delivered an opening speech at the Woodstock Festival in 1969. However, T. Krishnamacharya is arguably the father of the yoga practice with which Westerns are familiar today. In the 1930s, he began teaching his students the Mysore vigorous sequences of yoga poses that emphasize strength and athletic ability. Students were only allowed to learn the next and more challenging pose after they had grasped the previous one. His 3 most prominent and influential students are Pattabi Joyce, Iyengar and Indra Devi. Pattabi Joyce established Ashtanga Yoga. It is one students of the most popular types of yoga practiced in the West. Iyengar became successful by creating his own sequences of yoga poses, which were characterized by a focus on alignment of the body and the use of various props. Indra Devi is considered the first famous yogini, female yoga master. Krishnamacharya also educated his son Desika Acharya in yoga. An engineer by training, Desika Acharya saw great value in studying yoga only when he was already a college graduate. Desika Acharya developed Vin Yoga, which is more therapeutic and less intense approach to physical practice as compared to Ashtanga Yoga. The 21st century presents us with an endless variety of yoga styles or brands such as Bikar Yoga, Power Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, and countless more. It is important to be open-minded, try as many styles and approaches as possible, and figure out what gives you the best results in terms of achieving both your physical and spiritual goals. There is no wrong way to achieve self-realization. Just make sure you are mindful, patient, practical, and consistent in your practice. A note on the naming of poses. One of the ways that the distance from yoga's roots express itself in Western culture, it is the naming of the poses. Seated forward bend, eagle pose, and dolphin pose, for example, are all precise translations of the original Sanskrit name. Garuda Asana, for example, is widely known as the eagle pose, but traditionally this pose was named in dedication to Garuda, who is a Hindu deity portrayed as a half man and half eagle. He is the charioteer of Lord Vishnu, who is a part of the Holy Trinity in Hinduism. Knowing this history adds whole new dimensions to our understanding of the significance, philosophical depth, and essence of the pose, and can in turn enrich our practice. A history of yoga. Most of us know yoga is a set of poses performed in a gym or yoga studio setting. The majority of yoga styles practiced today were invented in the last quarter of the 20th century and are either a far cry from yoga's roots or have unknown lineage. If we really want to examine the roots of yoga, we need to back to the Harappan culture dating back 3500 years when yoga as a meditative practice. According to some around 1500 BC, Harappan culture was diminished due to Aryan invasion. Barbarian from Normandy introduced the caste system and enforced a set of religious rituals that involved the word yoga was first mentioned in the oldest of the Vedas, Rig Veda. It referred to the concept of discipline. Fast forward to 800 BC, the Upanishads, a collection of texts that contain some of the earliest concepts of Hinduism, prescribed the method of achieving enlightenment by studying under a teacher and dedicating one's life to yoga practice. The Upanishads outlined two paths to enlightenment: Karma Yoga, selfless dedication to the service of others, and Jnana Yoga, intense study of spiritual writings. Around the 3rd century, Maitrayana Upanishad is prescribed a 6-step process to enlightenment, which included mastering pranayama, breath control, pratyahariya, sense withdrawal, jhana, meditation, dharana, one-pointed concentration, tarka, self-reflection, and samadhi, absolute absorption. In order to unite the Atma, individual spirit, and Brahman, universal spirit or source of creation, the sacred syllable Om appeared in this particular Upanishad as a symbol of union between mind and breath. At around the same time, Maitrayana Upanishad was introduced. Bhagavad Gita gained prominence. This scripture combined and mythological tales that later made their way into a Gita, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, devotion. Compiled around 400 CE, Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras introduced the eightfold path of yoga practice, which is considered to be the classical yoga manual and the foundation of many of today's yoga practices, particularly Ashtanga Yoga. We will hear more about this eightfold path in the 8 limbs of yoga, which include yama, self-restraint; niyama, self-purification by self-restraint and discipline; asana, seat of posture; pranayama, control of breath; pratyahara, sense withdrawal; dharana, one-pointed concentration; jhana, meditation; and samadhi, total. The bandhas. Bandha means lock. Bandhas were traditionally believed to regulate the flow of life energy, prana, throughout the body. In contemporary yoga practice, bandhas serve a more practical purpose. They are contractions or body locks that you can implement to help correct your posture or aid you in proper alignment. There are 3 major bandhas: Moola Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, and Jalandhar Bandha. The combination of all 3 bandhas is called Mahabandha, or the Great Lock. Moola Bandha refers to the triggering of the perineum muscle that is locked between the genitals and the anus. Moola means root, therefore Moola Bandha translates as root lock. When this bandha is engaged, you will feel a slight pull of the inside of the thighs, similar to what you feel when trying to stop the flow of urine. Uddayini Bandha, flying or moving up. To engage this bandha, place 3 fingers below the belly button and pull your lower abdominal muscle slightly in and up. This will cause your pelvis tilt forward slightly with an upward action, protecting the lower back and strengthening the lower abdominals. Moola and Uddiyana Bandha should be engaged throughout the yoga practice. Together they help correct the posture and create proper alignment, which will reduce the chance of injury. Jalandhar Bandha is a chin lock. To practice this lock, bring the chin towards the clavicle bone while keeping your spine upright and moving your shoulder blades down the back. This bandha is rarely used but can be found when engaged in Dandasana staff pose. Thanking you.